future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Hey there, everyone, and good evening, America. This is your host, Alan Lissauer from Financial Sanity Now. Today I have with me a special guest, but a guest who's been with me before, because it's a very important day, Ariana Showkat. Ariana is both a trainer, a personal coach, as well as a very great assistant producer. Yes, she is.
Thank you for having me on, Alan.
But remember, listen, everyone out there, this is not Ariana's show. This is not my show. This is your show. Let me say this again. This is your show. Finally, a place that you can come, a place where you can get answers, a place where you can voice your complaints. And if you don't have complaints, then you're really sleeping. So our saying to you is, get up, America, wake up and see what's going on, because we have a lot to tell you. We don't have interest in politics. We don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, a socialist, well, a libertarian. We really don't care. What we care about is the issues that confront us every day, and there are some very important issues. We want to hear your consumer problems. We want to hear what gets you under your skin, what gets you angry, what gets you upset.
You know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad.
Yeah, and I'm not going to leave you alone either. It's about time people got mad and directed it to where it needs to go. We're most interested in what affects you. So call us at 323-524-2599 or text us at 310-384-4352. Tell us what's making you mad. We have topics for today's show, but before we get into that, we want to thank our guests from last week. It was the Kaizen group from CSUN. These students went out and raised over $21,000 for Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. And to me, these were a great example of what people can do when they give. They're not campaigning anymore, so this is not for that reason. We just want to thank them for setting an example. But if you do want to donate to Children's Hospital in the Kaizen name, please go to Children's Hospital or go to our website. Give us your name. We will direct you where to go. It's very important that we recognize students and people who are doing good instead of just, talking about what's terrible in our society. Okay, we're bringing a topic today that you need to know about. If you use the internet, you need to know about this. It literally affects everyone who uses the internet for any reason at all. And it hasn't gotten that much publicity. It has gotten some, but not enough. So if you're listening to this radio show right now, you're going to be affected by the new regulations that the government is trying to pass. Or should I say, the regulations they're trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
Because that's more what it is. It's called net neutrality. It's going to be the highlight of tonight's show, and we're angry. If you think what you read, watch, surf on the internet should not be monitored or limited in any way, this show is for you. I know it's for me. I know it's for Ariana.
It's for everyone who's listening out there, because without net neutrality, we wouldn't have access to high streaming satellite radio on the internet for free.
That's right. I would imagine this network will be affected as well. Okay, so another topic we're going to discuss, I think we'll get to it. I don't know. We always seem to run over time here. Is the CFPB. That stands for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This bureau was put into place with the Dodd-Frank bill during the financial crisis. It was meant to protect consumers from things like fraudulent loans, credit card overcharges, Wells Fargo charging people for auto insurance they shouldn't have charged for. It was meant to regulate the banks, and they've had an enormous effect on curbing the banks' malpractice. Enormous effect. We will go into some of their successes, the prodding and pushing to help consumers. Well, guess what? This administration wants to take the teeth out of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They want to basically dismantle it. The only bureau that protects you as consumers. Does that make you mad? If it doesn't, then it should. It really, I hate the word should, but you really, America, wake up. This is happening right now. Again, call us at 323-25, I'm sorry, I'm a little dyslexic, 524-2599, or text us at 310-384-4352. Get in on this topic. It's very important.
We really want you calling in tonight. We really want to hear your opinions, and I feel like America needs to hear your opinion, because this is both topics tonight are rights and organizations that have been put into place to protect Americans, and now they're being threatened. So yes. You really need to speak up right now.
You know, I had said to Ariana before the show, I think if we did a man on the street and we asked 10 people what net neutrality is, maybe one would know.
Maybe.
That's a sad state of affairs, because this affects you. And the reason the government can pass all these new rules, the reason they can deregulate or regulate the way they see fit, is because people are not aware. Remember, knowledge is power. We're trying to give you the knowledge. Later in the show, we're going to tell you where you can go with this knowledge. But let's talk about the net. Okay, most people born, say millennials, take the net for granted. People like myself realized when there was no internet. Now, there was one in the 60s and 70s, but it was used by the Pentagon. It was used by the government. They transmitted a certain amount of information. Because technology was limited, even they couldn't transmit that much. But they had the size of the room we're in, you can't see it. Computers were this size just to transmit information, and larger than that. Okay, so when computers were that big, you could get a certain amount of information through the internet. Now, the internet started to expand somewhat in the 80s, but in the 90s, it really expanded, and other companies were able to access bandwidth. Bandwidth is the way your transmissions are sent. One of those people might remember, if you're over 35, was AOL. Now, AOL was a dial-up.
Who remembers dial-up?
I remember the rotary phone, but I'm definitely dating myself. But dial-up, you had a bunch of numbers. You put the CD into your computer. You'd hear noise like that didn't drive you crazy.
Piercing your ear, right?
Exactly. and eventually you might connect one of those numbers to a phone line that was connected to the internet. And you'd get speeds that were, I'm not sure what these speeds were, but let me put it like this. If you tried to send a picture in the early 90s, you would sit there like this. Where's that picture? And 10 minutes later, it would come up, and you'd go, ooh, why did you send that picture? I don't even want to see that. But that is the way the internet operated. So it was pretty much used for instant messaging and email. Remember, you've got mail. And that made the internet more popular. There was Earthlink and there was AOL. And Pretty much it stayed like that in the 90s until broadband came along and fiber optics. Now, what fiber optics is, a very, very thin, if you can tell you, 1/1000th of an inch, fiber. And that could carry billions of packets. A packet is a piece of information, and it could carry it at a high speed. And companies today like Time Warner, Spectrum, they would buy this up from the government. They'd have bidding for it, and they'd pick it up, and now you'd have broadband access. Now, as you know, if you're in any of these areas, it's limited to maybe one company, maybe two if you're lucky. So the competition's very limited. And you do pay for the speed that's coming into your house. But these are regulated and allowed. Everyone can get the same speed if they want it. What had occurred during the Obama administration, and I'm not praising any particular administration, but in this case, it was really important that they put the internet as a public utility, meaning everyone had equal access. You couldn't slow me down because you didn't like me or how much broadband I was using or how much I was transmitting. It was like the 405 without traffic. Let's use that for a moment.
Or 405 without toll roads.
Without
we
toll
don't have
roads.
to pay to get onto
Right.
the 405. It's a freeway for a reason.
For
correct?
everyone.
It's free to access and it's free to drive on. But do we have to pay for it to be in the certain lane that's faster? Yes, that's a toll road, technically. So that's what the internet would projectively be like, would be faster, quote unquote, lanes versus slower lanes. And they would be rated at different prices, which I don't believe is even necessary because I feel like the internet's already expensive enough.
Well, it is. I mean, it really is. I'm paying $77 for broadband into my house because I can only get Spectrum. But it's even more than the price. It's the fact that if you control as a private company, if it's not net neutral, and I want to slow down, let's say I'm Comcast, and your Comcast is going into, let's say, half of Los Angeles, and I don't really like the programming from XYZ company, I can slow it down. Now, why would I do that? Well, I'll tell you why, because I want you to get my information. I don't want you to get the other information. That's the type of power that's called not neutral. Okay, does everyone get that? Now, the arguments that are raging, and let me tell you, this is going to be voted on tomorrow by the FCC. Now, there is a way to stop, not them voting on it, because already it's kind of rigged that they're going to vote to get rid of net neutrality. I'm going to go back to that in a moment. So, see the history of the internet. Right now, everyone's so happy. We have all this access. We can get what we want when we want. If you want to have a radio show like we do, we can broadcast it. They can't slow us down compared to some other show. Maybe they don't like what we're saying or like what we're doing, or we're a small company, and you get shut down. This is called freedom of access. You get how important it is to have freedom of access? If we have it, we can band together by using the internet to affect change. But what if someone else controls that? We can't. This upsets me a great deal.
I have a few things to go off on
Yes.
that. Just in general, we're a show that's bringing everyone information that's hard to find, correct?
Yes.
That is completely possible because we have a neutral and free internet. This information is being projected at the same speed as information that
The government.
the government protects, and puts out.
Or Fox News or CNN.
Exactly. So there's nothing that hinders our speed versus their speed. But there is going to be a point if this bill passes or all of these deregulations go into play where companies like us can no longer get the information out to you that you need to hear, that possibly the government doesn't necessarily want you hearing, because that makes you become more educated and it gives you a little bit more power. This is the whole point, that knowledge is power.
That's
The
right.
lack of knowledge and the lack of accessibility to knowledge puts you in a less powerful position. Do you guys really understand what that means? That scares me because as a former student and as I know how many students who are currently going to school right now, that could hinder their research process.
Yes.
You
it
know,
could.
it really could. And there's a huge thing on this for librarians who are for an open internet because students, young students, high school students, elementary school students, middle school students, they need access to free information. It is not fair that we would start to limit education.
Or make it more expensive.
Or make it more expensive for schools who don't already have the funding.
Right. Let's make it more expensive. We're trying to get computers in the hands of people who can't get them. And some companies like Microsoft are making inexpensive computers and giving them even to third world countries.
Yeah.
So they can improve their life. But if you start slowing down the internet to them or charging them a lot more, it has the reverse effect. And I want to say this can't happen, but we're going to get into how you can affect it in a minute. Internet neutrality, let me say this, by definition means there are no restrictions. No restrictions to content, to downloads, to uploads, to communication messages, to IM, to chat, to email. It also means that access to the internet will not be blocked, slowed, or sped up depending on where that access is based or who owns the access. In essence, the internet's open to everyone. Now, there probably would be questions about, well, then why does Spectrum own the fiber going into my house? Well, they laid the fiber, so they are allowed to charge you a certain rate for that fiber connection. But it still must be open, and it still must be equal to whatever everyone else is being charged in that area. So they are allowed a fair price, although without competition, you're not getting a fair price. They're selling bandwidth. Now, bandwidth is everywhere. It's open to everyone. In this room, there's bandwidth. From every satellite projects bandwidth. The world really is a matrix, so that if you're controlling that matrix, it's scary, actually.
Very scary.
Then it changes our lives. And it's important for all of us to get in on this right now. So I know there's a lot of questions here, and I want to ask Ariana to answer the next question because she's, as a student, she's very interested in this. What is the open internet mean for the average student, for the average person?
So for the average person, an open internet means that we have access to anything we search for. Clickable, there's no restriction. Anything that's going to pop up is going to pop up. And it's all going to be based on popularity, yes. But that's the whole point, is that these pages have access to becoming popular. Now, let's say our website, if you were to search financialsanitynow.com, it would automatically pop up, right? It's the first thing to pop up. We could potentially be charged to be
Just to be
there. And I just think that that's such a harsh reality to face for all small business owners, because the whole point of the internet being there as to support e-commerce and just in general regular commerce
and freedom
of speech and all of these other important vital things that we don't really take for granted daily, but we don't really put it in our mind that we are taking for granted of it. It would create an entire, I guess the word is a block of all of this. So we would either have to pay more, or we would have to then find ways to access certain sites either for free or underground. And I don't even want to know what's going to happen after all of this.
No, I don't either. And also I want you to understand that bandwidth is auctioned off to these companies. Bandwidth really belongs to all of us. What is bandwidth? There's bandwidth everywhere in the airwaves. So the government's controlling the bandwidth. Well, there is more bandwidth that's available. I mean, I don't know exactly how much. I am not that well versed in it. But I know there is a lot more available because we keep finding it. As we put up a satellite that creates more bandwidth. But it's highest bidder. Who has the billions of dollars to bid on this? Not very many people. So if net neutrality is in effect, well, at least we have that access, because you and I can't own the bandwidth, although we should, because aren't we the government?
Technically.
Okay.
One thing, sorry, I don't want to cut you off
No,
right there, but
it's,
a good example would be like, if you make $100,000 a year and you can afford the $200 internet package, but I only make $50,000 a year and I can only afford the $100 a month internet package. Both of us are Netflix subscribers, but Alan, on the other hand, would be receiving his Netflix at a faster speed than I would be because I can't afford to pay the extra $100 for faster internet. Do you guys see where the discrepancy is? Right now, as is, if he makes $100,000 and I make $50,000 and we're both Netflix subscribers, we're going to receive the same Netflix speed as each other.
Yeah.
This pass of deregulation could change that. That's how common of a household item in terms of change we'd start to feel this at that level. We'd feel it just watching a movie. Now imagine all the other things that you access the internet for.
Yes, and movies are great. I love Netflix.
Yeah.
It's something I could live without. At the same time, what I can't live without is the access to information. And that access to information could be limited to us. I'm not saying it will be, but it could be. Remember, now you're putting it in corporate hands. It's outside of the realm of any type of regulation of bandwidth that the government sold, which is our bandwidth. So the question is, how much danger is there now? And let me tell you how much there is. There's a vote on the FCC tomorrow. The head of the FCC is a gentleman named Ajit Pai. He's the chairman, and he's pushing to repeal net neutrality rules. The reason they're pushing it is they keep saying, well, it'll be faster. Well, you don't have to do that to make it faster. Here's how you make it faster. Put in a little more bandwidth, lay some more fiber. You're still getting your money for doing that. And you can have, today I can have pretty much any speed I want. So this argument doesn't make sense. What it makes sense is that there are certain lobbyists that are pushing for this. Mm-hmm. And they're not you and me. They're not at all, okay? So the cable companies are violently opposed to net neutrality. They want to hold on to, what they have. And the Obama administration, under the FCC, classified the internet as a public utility. This capped the principle of net neutrality. I'm actually shocked that it's being questioned at this time.
Why it's even under threat.
Yeah. Net neutrality is the only thing standing between American consumers and the nightmare scenario of corporate America-controlled internet. And it's happening. Now, I'm going to go into some more depth about it. But since net neutrality is in danger, how can you make your stand? And if you're listening to this now or a rebroadcast, I want you to check it on the screen because it's going to go up on the screen. But Ariana is going to read off some of the places you can make a difference now. Because one other thing, it's not just that they'll vote on it, it's that Congress can stop this. Congress can stop it. Now, I don't know if they'll stop it in the House, but they could stop it in the Senate. You know what they've done with this, though, Ariana? They've embedded it in the budget bill.
Oh, great.
So that they can, if they pass the budget, automatically net neutrality. I mean, it actually has to be pulled out. Yeah. Yeah, this is nasty. So can you tell the people how they can make a difference?
Yes, I am, and I have even more news for you. For those of you who are following live with us on the FSN Facebook page and the UBN Facebook page, I will be directly popping these links into our feed. But for those of you who are just watching live, you can go to thechange.org. We have a petition ready called Save Net Neutrality. I will be posting that link for you guys. Right now, they are currently at 1,600,000 signatures. They are trying to get 3 million signatures. And I really think that we need to get them as many signatures as possible because just like Alan said, we can get Congress to make a stop to this. We
Yeah,
can get
they
them
can
to make
stop
a
it.
stand.
They can
So
stop.
right now, the petition is to the FCC, the U.S. House of Representatives, and the U.S. Senate. So please do that. Sign that petition right now and share it on your Facebook, share it on your Instagram, wherever you have a social media page. Share it and email it, because we really, really need this. We can't have net neutrality pass or revoke of it. The next thing that you can do is join the battle.net or battleforthenet.com. This is a great website. We found a ton of information. They have a really cool feature on there where if you enter your phone number, you can actually call Congress. And if they keep saying, the idea is if they get enough calls, they can stop the FCC. So go ahead, put your number. They even suggest a little script for you to say if you're having a difficulty time expressing what you want to tell them, but you want to get them to hear your opinion and get your voice out on this. Please give them a call. And I would call every hour on the hour at this point. That's what I'm going to start doing tomorrow, because the vote is going down tomorrow with the FCC. They have a ton of other information for you there. There's also ways that you can start to, it says it's up to Congress to stop the FCC. If your representative isn't doing that, contact them now. There's a really cool place for you to contact them, and it even shows you all of the representatives who are not in agreement for net neutrality. So that's, again, they are not in agreement for net neutrality, and we definitely want to contact them. So
important.
yeah, there's even a little nifty contact them button right there. Just go ahead, click that, and get set up right away. The next cool thing is that you can actually further your support by changing your profile picture on your Facebook or your Instagram. We're going to have that picture up for you in a second. It's a little angry face. And you can also we have a Facebook banner. So right now we're playing the face that you can change your Facebook or any type of profile picture to. It says Step the FCC. We definitely want to stop the FCC. We cannot allow this to happen. So please make a stand. Share this. Share the link. I'll be posting the links right now. But please do something. Do not sit there silently and take this. Make a stand. Do it today.
You know, what's important is this is pretty much going through party lines. So although we don't like taking political stands, it seems that the Democrats in the Senate would be more prone to net neutrality. But since the Republicans have a very slim majority, it's important to target those who are willing to switch on this. I'll give you some names. Jeff Flake of Arizona, Senator McCain, Senator from Maine, and what's her name? Senator from Maine. Look that up. She's a very smart senator. I know those three in particular they're not alone. Oh, Susan Collins, that's her name. They care more about, not about party lines, but about what's fair. So we're looking for those people who understand fairness to be on our side. Okay? So to keep those names. The two senators from Arizona and Susan Collins. Now, there could be others. I know Cory Booker in New Jersey is for net neutrality, but he could influence others. I know the Senator Schumer is for net neutrality. He's the head of the Democrats in the Senate. But I ask all the Republican senators also, this should not be a partisan issue. This should be a bipartisan issue to keep the net neutral. Mm-hmm. That's all we're asking for. Just keep it the way it is. Don't give the power away. It's very detrimental to freedom of speech. The way it's being said, the arguments are, and there's headlines in the LA Times. Now, let me give you an example of this, how the newspapers don't get it right. Rarely do they get it right. I mean, I don't know if these people went to journalism school. In journalism school, you're supposed to understand the issue and look at it as circular, not linear, not left, not right. We shouldn't even be talking left and right. All ideas are circles, and there's many sides to a circle. There's so many that you can't even count them. That's what makes up a circle. So the headline here is, are web fast lanes a good idea? Well, that's like saying it could be a good idea. And maybe it is a good idea. But why would it ever be a good idea since we already have a fast web lane? That you can make it faster. So with net neutrality, with giving everyone equal access. But the article goes on to say that, well, maybe these people would have more incentive to invest their money to make the web faster. Well, that's absolute nonsense. Google has already put together certain cities and towns that have extraordinarily fast web access. I don't know if you've heard of this. These are projects. They're already underway. The companies are making mega billions of dollars. I don't know any company, whether it's Charter, Verizon, Spectrum, Google, that aren't making billions of dollars. They have plenty of money to invest. Not only that, they're going to get a nice tax break down to 21%. That's a lot less than I pay. This idea that a newspaper would propagandize, and this is the Los Angeles Times, or any other newspaper would come out and say, our fast lane is a good idea. Why is that a question? No, they're not. Fast lanes are a great idea.
They already exist.
Yeah, they're there.
There's no need for them to be a good idea because they already exist.
How about it should say something like,
our slow lane's a good idea.
Yeah, our slow lanes. Yeah, is that a question?
Could anyone benefit from a slow lane?
Yeah, like let's slow people down. Or why don't they have a headline saying, here's the concept of net neutrality?
Or what's the consequences?
Yeah, give people information. Don't prejudice with a headline. Here's another one. Well, this one at least is saying something interesting. A bum deal for internet users. Okay, well, Is it a bum deal? Yes, it is a bum deal.
I would say that's the least word we could put to it.
Right.
Bum deal.
A bum deal. A Spectrum service rep told me that she has no new promotional discounts after this is an example of a consumer, tried to get a little bit off. I know my internet's now $78. It started at $29. And they said, why not? And the rep actually said, well, we don't have to. We don't have to give you any break. Well, how bad is it going to get after this? Is it going to go to $100 a month just to use the internet? Well, I think that's the least of what you'll see. Otherwise, they'll slow you down. They'll say, well, you know what? We'll give you a certain speed, and that's it. We'll limit your data. Okay.
Big companies will be able to access the faster internet because they, quote unquote, need it more than consumers.
That's right.
But what good does that do us?
It does no good. And then there are fees and fees and fees. There's fees called customer access fees, customer line fees, and they're ponying these off as if they're government fees. No, they're not. They're just another fee and another fee. And so this whole idea that this is actually happening is offensive to me. Let me give you another article. Fast lanes may be coming to the web.
Looks like we've got a caller.
Okay, well, do we? Hello, caller. We have a caller?
Caller, where are you from? Say your name and where you're calling from.
Oh, hi. My name is Melissa, and I'm calling from Encino, California.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
Hi. So I keep hearing about this net neutrality and about because somehow they're going to charge us to use the internet. And I'm just was wondering if you could explain more about that. It doesn't seem possible to me. I mean, we have Wi-Fi charges, but I don't know. The whole subject's a little bit confusing. Maybe you can.
Well, I think it's to everyone. It is very confusing. I know I had to do a lot of research to really find out why this was even happening. Let me give you the best explanation I can, and not a lot of words. Right now, you're driving on the 405 without traffic. It's open to you, right? So
Ha
if I know that's
Right.
a dream. Well, try it 4 a.m. maybe. But,
Right.
Not even. I think the traffic starts at 4 in the morning.
right. But let's say it is an open road. Okay, some open road. Now let's put some toll booths on that road and slow you down. And we're going to slow you down based on the type of car you're driving, maybe, or who you are, or what you're carrying in the car.
Or maybe where you live.
Right. So this is the same thing. Right now, everyone gets the same access to the net. Yes, you pay for that access fee, but there's still competition, and there's still a way for you to get that broadband. And everyone transmitting to you must transmit. You can get it at any speed that anyone else can get it. That's called neutrality. If this, because it's now classified as a public utility, if net neutrality goes away, all of that goes away. Even the show you're listening to, if they want to slow down the speed of this show for this small studio that's broadcasting, they can do it. They can just add fees to our broadcast. You know, we have to pay to broadcast. So they'll just add more
And
fees
you have to
and
pay
slow
to
us
listen.
down. And that's what'll happen. Net neutral means everyone has equal access at the same price. Does that help?
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I know,
That
I know.
that makes it more clear. It's upsetting, but it makes it more clear.
Well, if there are places to go right now, the FCC is voting on it tomorrow. They probably will vote to get rid of it. But your congressman in Encino, I think, is Brad Sherman. I think he is for net neutrality, so calling him probably would be redundant. But there is a petition. Can you tell her where the petition is, Ariana?
Yes,
There's
Melissa.
over 1 million people who've signed it.
Yeah, over 1 million people have signed it. We're trying to get 3 million people. So if you could sign it and get your friends to sign
Okay.
it, we would really appreciate it. It's on change.org. It's Save Net Neutrality. If you go ahead, you can search it from our Facebook page, or you can search it from our Instagram page, or you can just go on change.org and search Save Net Neutrality. But we would really appreciate if you sign that petition for us.
That's on our website as well.
It's not on the website
Okay,
just
yeah.
yet, but it's on the Facebook page. Yes.
It's on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And it's very important wherever you live. It will change our lives in ways we don't really know yet. But it won't be a free and open internet the way it is now.
No. And you
Okay.
could start to pay, be forced to pay for packages. So let's say right now you like to get your news from the Huffington Post, CNN, and another news blog.
I don't like that.
Whatever.
But,
But
okay.
let's just say, let you just choose to get your news
Yes,
from them.
right.
You could be charged a package rate just to receive news from them at the same rate that we're getting news from them
For free.
now for free.
For
So
free.
same thing goes with your favorite apps. So your favorite apps may be Facebook, they could be Instagram, they could be just your Google
Could
email,
be just your banking.
or your banking, and now you're going to have to be forced to pay an additional charge to get them at the same speed. Because let me tell you, the speed of the internet's not going away. We're just
No.
going to be forcibly slowed down.
Right, unless we pay these fees.
Unless we pay those fees. And then all of a sudden, it's basically forcing a caste system into the internet. It's kind of happening with Verizon right now. We've been closing our eyes to it, but I've said it for a few years, or for the last year, they stopped their unlimited and started charging people per gigabyte. That was the start of it.
All right.
And it's only continuing on. So
Does that help, Melissa? Hey, you still there?
I think we might have lost Melissa, but thank you, Melissa, for calling in.
I
No, I'm here.
Oh, sorry. We
okay,
didn't know if we
okay,
lost
Yes,
sorry.
it's much
Maybe
more
you had
clear.
something
Thank
to
you.
do right then. Okay, thank you again for calling in, and for everyone else who's listening, we're going to repeat that internet, the place you can go again. So have a good day, Melissa.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
calling.
Thank you. Okay, let's go on a little bit. I don't know, looking at the time, how much more we're going to get to, but we covered the places people can go?
Yes, we have
regarding
covered
net
them.
neutrality.
So I think you can go into the CFPB now.
I will take a few minutes to go into the CFPB because equally important right now is the CFPB is starting to become dismantled. What is the CFPB? The Consumer Federal Protection Bureau. The same people that managed to fine Wells Fargo hundreds of millions of dollars for opening unauthorized accounts. So without the CFPB, Wells Fargo would have just walked away with, does everyone remember that? Wells Fargo was just opening accounts. I know they opened a couple for my daughter. I opened one that was supposed to be free, and they kept charging me. I had to keep going to the bank. Eventually, I closed mine. Times millions. So they got a fine. They could afford the fine, but at least they were slapped on the wrist. At least they were told to stop. Wells Fargo also added insurance, car insurance, to people that bought cars, had loans through Wells Fargo. Hello, people. If you buy a car, you can pick your own insurance company. I think I know it. Ariana, you know that?
I'm sure because my insurance is not through my bank. Just
Okay.
like my the warranty that they offer you with your finance through the bank. Oh, you need this warranty and blah blah blah. And even the car salesman people told me, they're gonna offer you this warranty and they're gonna say it's better, but the factory warranty by book for book is better. And we looked at it, and the factory warranty was better, but how many people are preyed on saying yeah, this is a better warranty, blah blah blah, you need this, etc. reason, whatever it may be, but they're suckered into paying $200 more a month.
There's a lot of very naive people, not because they're naive, like they're stupid, it's because they're naive. They just bought a car and they're so happy. And Wells Fargo just added insurance, didn't even tell them.
Nope.
And this is cheating. This is criminal. So the CFPB was able to stop it and give Wells Fargo a fine. To me, it's a slap on the wrist again.
Small slap on the wrist.
But even these slaps on the wrist are going to stop. These payday loans that have been going on, where they charge people 30% over a month's period of time, have been regulated, at least through the CFPB. That's going to go away. The banking system, when you have a complaint about your mortgage, about your credit card bills, that's going to go away. Now, how are they doing this? They're really not allowed. Dodd-Frank was put into effect. This is the bill called the Dodd-Frank bill, was put into effect during the crises. And during that time, we knew we needed extra regulation because the banks had really run over everyone. The way it works is the person was Elizabeth Warren was put in charge. But the Republicans wouldn't do this. They wouldn't allow her. So they threw her out. They would never approve her. It needed Senate approval for the head. And Richard Cordry got in, and he was very good. He really acted on a lot of things. Well, there's only so much pressure even this man could take over all these years. And when he left, the second one in charge was supposed to take over. Her name was Miss English. Okay.
Lindra?
Lindra English.
I think that was her name.
So
yes.
that is the way it was supposed to go. Now, I've been given the 5-minute warning, so we're going to have to wrap up soon. But I want you to understand with the CFPB, it's take notice, be aware. We'll go into it more next show. If what's happened is the administration has appointed a different person to take over, and right now there are court battles going on to see who's going to be in charge of the CFPB. Michael Mulvaney is in charge of the budget, and Trump put him in charge of the CFPB. His words are, I want to take this thing apart. Do we want him in charge? No. But these cases are now going before the court. We all need to talk to our congressman, keep the CFPB, keep it going. We need it. Again, I will wrap up in a few minutes, but there's a lot more to talk about with the CFPB. You're right. We never really got too far down the road on this one.
But, I just want to go into just one little thing on that.
Go ahead.
That this is an agency that is there to protect consumers.
Yes.
There's not many agencies that are around left that are actually there for the welfare of the consumer.
Right.
This is another one of those things that they're trying to take away access to important information. This is another one of those examples that knowledge is power, and the less access to important information like this that we have from outside sources gathering it and publishing it for us, because this is not information that's easily accessible.
No.
An entire company or an organization that's dedicating itself to gathering information. How are you going to expect to get this information, especially after net neutrality passes? It's going to be almost impossible. So I think I'm sensing a trend here, and I want you guys all to be awake to this.
Yes. I was, again, off topic, but I was talking to Ariana about the book 1984, and I read it, of course, before 1984. I went, this could never happen. And she read it
Closer,
a few years ago,
yes.
and she goes, it's happened. And, it's happened, but it's up to us now to wake up America, see what's going on, okay? Now, I just want to wrap up tonight by saying thank you to all listeners, live, and those of you catching it on our recordings later, whether it's Apple iTunes, it's on YouTube, it's on, I don't know where else, but a few other places, I think. But iTunes and YouTube, to be sure. You can also go to the UBM website. You can go to our Facebook.
Financial Sanity Now.
Sanity Now. Next Wednesday, December 20th, our topic will be student loans again because it's getting worse. Student loans and protection agencies. Okay, there are other protection agencies on the state level, and I want you to be aware of those. And we will go into the CFPB again. As a special promotion for our UBN listeners, FSN is offering a free credit analysis, and I would take advantage of this, especially it's the end of the year. Just text us at 310-384-4352. Put your name, put your email, put on the message FSN on UBN, free credit analysis. See where you stand with your credit towards the end of the year.
After all the holiday shopping, that's going to come really in handy. You don't want to make the same spending mistakes next year that you made this year. So get on that. Call us now.
That doesn't look good. Spending's up. Additionally, FSN offers other services like credit repair, credit card consolidation, interest rate negotiations, credit card reductions, interest amounts, mortgage rate reductions, medical debt negotiations. 1 out of 4 of you out there have medical debt that you really have to negotiate down. We can help you with that. These and some of many services we offer to help you put some financial sanity in your life. Check out our website at financialsanitynow.com. And
you can go ahead and check out our Yelp. You can check out our YouTube page, just like Alan mentioned before.
Yeah.
You can check our iTunes podcast page if you want to listen to more links. And you can also, like I said again, check us out on Facebook and on Instagram by searching Financial Sanity Now.
That's right. And we want you to stay angry. And we want you to focus that anger in a healthy way. And follow us on Instagram. Our handle is @FinancialSanityNow. We love to share helpful money-saving budgeting tips also. They're free. Call us, email us. We'll try to help you out without any fees. Please tune in to our upcoming shows and call us at FSN anytime at 818-906-2385. That's 818-906-2385. And remember, America, to keep calling in with your stories. Remember, we're here to help you. But most of all, remember, we're not going to take it anymore.